I don't know what it says about me, but when I realized that there was going to be a movie about John Madden, and it's supposed to be about Madden NFL football, and I guess the making of that, I thought about Frank Caliendo, who does John Madden impersonation all the time, and then I realized that I think Will Ferrell was up for the job, but Nick Cage got the job. He's going to be John Madden in the movie. So I thought, Fritzy, reach out to Frank Caliendo, because I wondered, does Frank do a Nick Cage impersonation of John Madden? I mean, let's up the ante here a little bit. But by the way, go to frankonstage.com to learn more about where you can see Frank. He'll be Davenport, Iowa, Milwaukee, Wisconsin coming up in September as we make way for the great comedian, Frank Caliendo. Frank, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. It has been a while, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Okay. So do you do a Nicolas Cage doing John Madden?
I heard you talking about it yesterday. I tried it a little bit because I did a social media post of all the other actors I think would be better than me playing John Madden. So the Nicolas Cage, I believe, would start a little lower and get in here. Hey, folks, John Madden here. And this guy's going over here. That guy's going over there. And what's this guy doing, Pat? He's stealing the Declaration of Independence. Here we are. Boom! There would be a lot of, right? Boom! Pow! Wow! I'm finding things from old Batman episodes that are working their way in. Good enough?
For those who are listening on radio, I wish you could see Frank with the face. Facial expressions are awesome there. I mean, my Nicolas Cage impersonation was with Pig, and it would be, I want my pig. And then that's it. That's as far as I go.
I go more for finding. It's actually getting better as I'm doing it with you for some reason. I think it's upping the stakes, like when you're playing in a game and players get better as they're playing in the game because the stakes are higher. But I want to play. A tweet I put out yesterday after Fritzy said who was on the show is like, let's play rhyme time. That's what I want to do. Here we go.
Wait, do you have a Nicolas Cage rhyme time?
I'm working on it, Dan. So
okay.
Here's what we're going to do. 2 words. I'll give you 2 words, and you try to figure out how they rhyme. 2 other words. Okay, I'm going to over-explain it the same way Fritzy would for 2.5 minutes. Let's just trying to get the back row laughing. That's all I'm trying to do here. By the way, never been on the show with Marvin. Love Marvin! Doing a tremendous job. But first, okay, so I should have thought of 2 rhyming words. I didn't plan. Okay, Nicholas, extended. Nicholas extended. Anyone?
Todd, do you want to guess? Todd,
I'm trying to think what rhymes with Cage that would be extended.
I'll give it to you because it's going to take forever. Cage range.
Cage range. Okay.
That's the typical Fritzy. Doesn't even really.
That's right.
Yeah, it's supposed to be bad, Frank. So
I tried to go one extra layer.
That's amazing.
Could you do an impression of Madden that would fool? Like, let's say the movie people wanted you to come in and do some lines, not over the top, but just do John Madden. For the movie.
I mean, they always start with more of a caricature that it got into that. Like it gets fun. It starts out kind of boring, but the Madden thing, you try to say the things the way he would say, and those are the kinds of things that it ends up being, and then it would get like that once in a while. I actually I did a commercial where I was supposed to sing as John Madden. John Madden didn't want to sing, I guess, in the commercial, and I'm still doing Cage, and I'm not even trying. So it was a Christmas song, and I had to sing it, and they're like, "We want you to come in and audition." I'm like, "Find somebody else. If you're going to make me audition for this, I ended up making them pay me $1,000 or something like that. This is like 20 years ago. And it was Madden singing, chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose. And they're like, that's incredible. I'm like, he's never going to let you use it. Don't worry. That's why I'm making you pay for it. And it turned out that they didn't use it. And in the commercial, he's like, chestnuts roasting on an open fire. I was like, see, so that's why it was one of those. Normally, I wouldn't be that much of a jerk about it, but I was like, there's no way they're going to use it. And I probably told you a story. I finally met Madden at the Super Bowl in Dallas. I made his grandkids laugh, and it kind of changed it. So that was pretty cool.
Okay, give me the other people that you were doing who could have been up for John Madden.
I found some people. John C. Reilly was probably one of the best I thought would have been there. Did you touch my turducken? Did you touch my turducken? I know you touched my drumstick because there's a bite eating out of it. That one was a good one. I did like a Leonardo DiCaprio Wolf of Wall Street. 5 years ago, when I first started using the telestrator, I had no idea it was going to take off the way it did. I did trying to think who else was in there. There was a Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman has to be, yeah.
Morgan Freeman would be a better Pat Summerall, though, right? I was going to do Summerall. So, to the 20, to the 25, there's a flag on the play. If the quarterback, if he throws the ball and the receiver catches it in the end zone, truth of the matter is, that's a touchdown. So there were like those. There were, I don't know. There was some that I took out, like a Jeff Goldblum.
Have you thought about?
Go ahead.
Wait a minute. Before you get to that, have you thought about doing like an alternate broadcast? For
people have brought it up to me. I think it would be fun to get a real football mind and doing that. One of the reasons I started listening to you guys more is somebody had brought up, I think it was Seton, but everybody's kind of doing it. Seton was doing the Romo, and you guys were having a Romo discussion, and somebody's like, and don't listen to this whole thing before you think I'm a jerk. And somebody's like, they're doing your Tony Romo bit, and I'm like, well, it's an observation. It's very similar. It's just parallel thinking, but it was that whole bit about how he doesn't know the play. My joke is he went from Nostradamus to knows nothing about football anymore. And and my joke with Romo is basically he's like revving up a car when he starts. That's how I get into it. It's like, oh, Jim, Jim. And he can never think of a reference. He'll start. This happens to me all the time. So he starts a reference, and then he gets lost. Like, Jim, that's like a car or he'll be like, Jim, that's like going 0 to 60 in a car that goes really, really fast. Like he doesn't get the name of the car sometimes. And he's smiling. You can see Romo smiling. Oh, Jim, this is really, really great. What's he going to do here, though, Jim? And that's where it kind of crossed over with what you guys were talking about. Nance called me. I had the greatest voicemail in the world with Nance calling me because I guess they do that on the set. They've done it in games, and where they just go, here we go, Jim. And then Nance goes, Tony. But Nance left me a message. He just go, Frankie. And I wish that the message was, hello, Frank. Jim Nance. Like, if I'd have gotten a hello, Frank, at the beginning of that, oh, Jim, that would have been the best.
Okay, just to let the audience know, this is we weren't ripping you off. If anything, hopefully, no, absolutely
we complimented not. No, you hadn't heard it. No. I thought no way on earth that you'd have seen me do it because it wasn't even on TV or anything like that. No, it was one of those situations where a total parallel thinking. And here's the thing. Here's a funny thing is, like, you ever meet people that think kind of like, you have a friend in town in Arizona, John Holmberg. He and I think very similarly, and it's why I can write with him sometimes. Seton sees a lot of things similar the way I do, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's how I attack that too. And I'm like, sometimes I get mad at him, but it's got nothing to do with it. I'm like, oh, he's already done that, so it's like, what am I gonna do? So it's actually,
right, so Paulie,
it's actually it's actually a great compliment to Seton, or he thinks I'm an idiot and is like, oh no, I've already done it.
It's one of my to have that bit be so good that people think I stole it from you is one of my greatest career accomplishments.
But it's only
It's
a
like
friend-
that's
it's
like
only-
the best thing. You basically gave me a dozen roses right there. I'm like, I want to hug you. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. I don't want people to think that that's completely innocent, because it happens all the time. It used to be when you had a bit. Everything wasn't global. Like the Dan Patrick Show goes out everywhere and on social media. Now, everybody always had this stuff. People were always doing the same types of things all over. But now you just have the ability to see it. And I really enjoy the show. And I was at the man cave, the new man cave. Wasn't I one of the first people there at the?
Yes.
Is that? And is my star still there? Do I still have the star? I had a star on the walk. Okay,
Yeah.
I just didn't know.
you
It's
got
been
it
a while since I've been on, so I didn't know if it was a peel and stick, like it was there one day and like, okay. Because I remember Reggie Miller came out of the dressing room, and I was like, Reggie, I never really liked you I was honest. I was like, I never really liked you as a player, but meeting you, you were the greatest guy in the world. It's so cool.
All right, so Paulie, you play the role of Jim Nance, and then Seton plays Tony Romo. Okay, here we go.
Cowboys at the 45 of Dallas. What did they do here, Tone?
I don't know, Jim. What do you think? Did they run it? Did they pass it? What would you do?
We'll keep an eye on that.
It's kind of the same joke.
What are they
over
going
and
to do
over.
here, Jim? This looks really exciting. It looks like one of the best plays they've ever put together. What's going to happen here? Tony?
It's kind of what you're here for. So.
But they really do get along great. I mean, we always I think Tony does some of those inside jokes where he doesn't always explain it to the audience. And I don't know Tony. I was just talking to Nance for like an hour. I met Tony in passing, but I enjoy these guys. I mean, to me, it's always finding the fun of somebody, and that's what makes it great. When you try and do an impression of somebody and you're being mean, I don't find it fun. It can be interesting, but I like to find the silliness. And I'll give props to and I've texted Fritzy about this before. His who's the basketball? I can't even think of the basketball announcer. That's on
Kevin Harlan.
Kevin Harlan.
Kevin
oh
Harlan.
My gosh, when you did Kevin Harlan for Kevin Harlan. I mean, that stuff is so much fun. Can he do a little Kevin Harlan?
The Hawks on a
me a little there.
13-3 run. The Jazz want to talk about it. This is the NBA on TNT.
And he always goes, "This is the NBA on TNT," which is what you do when you can only say certain things and you know what's going to tie it in at the end. That this is the NBA on TNT. Mine always goes to Marv Albert. It turns into this from downtown. Yes. So I always get lost in there. I did a thing where when you don't master one, for me personally, these voices meld a lot of the time. So two of them, I did this as a post before on like Instagram and stuff. But Kermit the Frog, hi ho, Kermit the Frog here. That's a voice that uses this nasal kind of thing, and then Fozzie Bear's like waka waka waka, that type of deal. And if you find those in there, if you take Kermit the Frog and bring it down a little bit, comes John C. Reilly. Did you touch my drum set? That right there. And if you add some air, it becomes Mark Ruffalo. I see this as an absolute win. And if you bring it way down, it becomes Paul Giamatti. I believe that Nance Romo bit is probably one of the best bits I've ever heard in my entire life. And I'm talking about the Seton version with Paulie, not Caliendo.
Applause there.
A little insight into the craft right there.
Well, there's always that. I taught Shaq. I don't get political at all, really. I mean, I talk about people in politics, and I know but I taught Shaq to do Trump one time, and that might have been the funniest. Shaq doing Trump, which is kind of like Cage doing Madden. But just Shaq going, look, that's that's tremendous, very, very good. Quite frankly, the number one reason I've ever done. Shaq, I'm like, can I tell people about that? He's like, sure, it'll be tremendous.
Let us know when you're on the East Coast again. We'd love to have you stop by.
I'd love to come in and I'd fake my retirement like Barkley. Dan, I'm done. I'm done, Dan. I'm never coming back. You can't talk me into it. Dan, I'm doing a bunch of stuff for TNT next year. It's so awesome. It's great to talk to you guys.
Thank you, buddy. Frank Caliendo, frankonstage.com. Learn more about where he will be performing. Get tickets, including Davenport, Iowa, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin in September.